A new CDC report shows a growing problem with growing children. In the year 2000, nearly 14% of kids ages 2 to 19 were considered obese. Last year, that grew to 21%, and severe obesity in that age group nearly doubled.
Our 9 News medical expert, Dr. Pyle Coley, is here to discuss with us the reasons behind that problem and what parents can do to help. So let's start with just talking about why is this increasing so much? It's kind of scary.
It's very scary. I mean, look at those numbers. And the issue here is it's not a physiologic thing. It's not a biologic thing. It's all behavioral. It is what we're eating and how little we're moving. And you think about just the last 20 years, how much our kids are on screens and how sedentary they are, how little they're playing outside, and the types of foods that they're eating. Ultra processed foods and, lots and lots of foods, that sugary drinks that put on that weight. And unfortunately, this is translating into more childhood cancers, more diabetes, more fatty liver, bone disease, even, behavioral and developmental issues. Because you think about bullying in schools, it's a real problem when it comes to childhood obesity. So it's really something we need to start thinking about.
I was a little bigger in high school, or I guess middle school, high school. So at what point do you say, this is just baby fat, it's going to wear off, versus, okay, this is something as a parent I need to be concerned about?
So such an important question. So I would say each year you want to look at that growth chart. So in adults, we look at something called BMI, body mass index, right, which is our height and our weight, because we're sort of done growing in terms of our height and our weight. But with kids, it's different at different ages. It could be a normogram. You could lie at different sort of phases of that. So if your BMI as a child is consistently above the 95th percentile, or your weight is consistently above the 95th percentile for other kids your age and gender, that's when you as a parent need to start worrying. Now, 95th is kind of the definition of concerning. 85th is when you need to start talking to your pediatrician. I would also say the shape of the child is really important. So if you're noticing that your child is holding on to weight on their belly, you're developing a tummy, that's not normal for children to have weight on their tummies like adults do. It's not good for adults either, but for children, it's really concerning. If you're noticing that your child is rather going to sit on a screen than go outside and ride their bike or do something physical, or that they're getting bullied, these are all triggers at which point you should reach out to your pediatrician.
Well, as a parent and you see these triggers, then what do you do?
So there's lots you can do, and that's why it's really important. So first and foremost is good behavior starts at home. So you have to model a good diet. You have to make sure that you're eating well, you're bringing in the right types of foods into your house. Shopping, really what I like to see is on the perimeter of the grocery store, not in the middle, right? Because that's where those processed foods are. And having that talk with your child. The other thing is replacing screen time with family time or physical time. That's a really important way also to kind of get them up and moving. And then we need to start talking about medications and surgery, because even in children, we can start thinking about medical options or surgical options if they're not able to sort of get their weight off the natural way.
Does it matter the age? When you talk about these numbers, it's just whenever you hit these numbers, no matter what age you are?
So here's what's interesting. We're shifting that needle down more and more. So it used to be all the weight loss drugs. We really talked about 18 and above, right, in adults. Then they became FDA approved for adolescents. You're talking about teenagers, kind of 12 and above or so, approved for these weight loss drugs. Now a new trial just came out from the New England Journal of Medicine studying kids as young as 6 years old.
No.
Getting these weight loss drugs and seeing what impact it has. Now, there's a huge controversy about this, which I really want to highlight because it's not decided what we should do in our young kids, but certainly an option to talk to your doctor about.
Feels like that could be a whole nother conversation that we could talk to you about, Dr. Coley. Thank you for this important information. And you can always find more with Dr. Coley at 9news.com/Dr. Coley.